All right, and we are live. Welcome everyone to Tea with Doug G. If you don't know me, my name's Doug Gooden, and welcome. I am so excited this week to welcome my amazing guest, Mr. Jason Bray. Jason, welcome to the show. But yeah, why don't you take just a second, tell the folks who you are, what you do, any fun fact about yourself. Yeah, the floor is yours for the next few minutes.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Jason. I work as a director of video production or videographer or video guy, whatever you want to say. I make videos here at a company in Athens called Prolifik. We're video-led marketing, so I'm on the video side, but we have the whole team there. We have the advertising people, the social media people, the websites, graphics, branding. Everyone there is really great. Fantastic at everything that they do. So yeah, that's kind of me. Doug, how is your tea tonight?
My tea is very nice. I kind of burned my tongue while I was making dinner.
Yeah,
But my tea's good. It's the berry zinger tea
Barry
that
Singer.
I drink.
Ooh,
Yes, and
have
I
a,
know you've joined the small group of my guests who have drank tea alongside me. So tell me, what are you drinking?
this is I think it's called Ahmed Black Tea. It's made with tea leaves. My fiance is Persian, so I'm very integrated into tea.
Gotcha.
Her parents have tea, I think, like 3 times a day. I'm only at 1 time a day. I'm still a tea novice, but I'm slowly growing. So it's piping hot right now and ready to go for the show.
Well, very nice. Well, very nice. Well, we both have our tea, so let's go on and get into a conversation. All right.
Okay.
So Jason, our first question, as it usually does, comes
Mhm.
from friend of the show, Mr. Ben Tankersley, and Ben wants to settle the age-old debate:
Mhm.
is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco?
Oh man. I mean, I would never classify it as either one of those things, but I guess if I had to say if it's a sandwich or a taco, I would probably have to say sandwich because it has bread.
Okay.
I mean, you could put
Okay.
condiments on, but
And
you
and
could,
tell
I don't know. That's a good one. That's a great question.
me. All right, and tell me, why would you not classify it as as a sandwich if not given that qualifier?
If not for the bread qualifier.
Or
Oh,
like
if I had to choose, if I don't know, because hot dogs are kind of their own thing, right? I mean, it's not a sandwich, right? It's a totally different food group than a sandwich.
I mean, I'm inclined to disagree simply because you can. I've heard the argument that a sandwich is something that is only eaten between two pieces of bread, and there are plenty of hot dogs that are eaten just between two pieces of bread as opposed to one bun. So
Right.
I I I've always been of the mind that it is a sandwich.
I mean, I will accept your answer to that. Um, I still don't think it's a sandwich, though. I really think it's its own thing, you know?
That's fair, I guess. I guess that's fair. Well, Ben, thank you for our starting question as always, and Jason, I'll throw it over to you. Why don't you hit me with another hard hitting question?
Yeah, apparently. All right. Are you a music fan, first of all, before I start the question?
Absolutely. I I'm a big fan of classic '80s rock. Big Journey fan, big Bon Jovi fan. Love Queen.
Hmm.
I also love show tunes because I'm a theater nerd, which is why riding riding a long distance on a road trip with me is always a terrible idea.
Mm.
Um, but uh, but yeah, I'm a music fan.
So, how do you feel about Led Zeppelin specifically? Are you a Led Zeppelin fan? Do
You
you
know,
dig on
I
them
have
too much?
I have been known to let the lead out or to get the lead out
Mhm.
occasionally. I would not in any way say that I am an expert, but
Sure.
I think more of like a casual Led Zeppelin fan.
So,
But
Led Zeppelin's kind of been known to borrow a lot from other musicians and everything. I didn't know if you had an opinion on. Some people are, say, "Oh, Led Zeppelin, they're just a bunch of thieves." Some people. That's a pretty niche question, I will admit. But I didn't know if you had an opinion on the whole Led Zeppelin. Are they thieves, or are they taking what's already there and making it better? Those type of artists.
That's a very fair question. And I mean, I think it applies to not only Led Zeppelin, but all kinds of art, all kinds of music.
Right.
I'm of the opinion that you should tend not to take another person's work and parade it as your own. However, I feel that by and large, I think that Led Zeppelin, because I've heard this argument, and I've heard kind of back to back some of the things that they've quote unquote stolen.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, they usually either make it better or they add enough of their own twist on it that it almost becomes its own thing regardless. So I would say in that scenario, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with you. I mean, to the effect of, it's like everyone loves Tarantino movies, but all he does is copy from other movies and kind of make it his own thing. So at what point is that just their whole scheme there, you know?
Yeah, that's a completely fair point. But yeah, great question. All right, well, I have another question for you, and it comes from a mutual friend of ours, Kate Branson, and Kate, also a former guest of the show, friend of the show. She wants to know a question that I'm sure is on many people's mind. How do you feel as a Falcons fan, as a fan of the Atlanta Falcons? And look, you're not going into this alone, because I'm a Falcons fan too. So yeah. It's like I know the pain that prompted this question. I know the pain that comes from the answer. But what's your take on the Atlanta Falcons?
I'll just say this: my life, I think, is divided into two very distinct segments. My life is before Super Bowl 51 and after Super Bowl 51, and kind of the whole game up until the final whistle. That was just the in-between time there. Yeah, I'm a big Falcons fan. Yeah, it feels like an abusive relationship in a lot of ways, but
yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, someone was asking me today, like, "Oh, why don't you just find a new team to root for?" And there are other teams I really like to watch play. I'm a big NFL fan, so I'll watch any teams. But I love teams like the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, stuff like that. But I don't have the same passion for them when they win as I have when we lose, if that makes sense. So yeah, I take Falcons wins and losses very personally. So Sunday, depending on what happens on that game, it will determine the rest of my night and how my mood goes.
Yeah, and for anyone out there who basically is not from the state of Georgia, let me just contextualize this for you. So the Atlanta Falcons have a history, a very recently developed history of getting very far into a football game, doing very well, and then choking like nobody's business and blowing a huge lead, and then losing. And if you don't know the pain that both Jason and I feel, it all really dates back to Super Bowl 50, when they had a 25-point lead on the New England Patriots going into, I believe, the fourth quarter, and they lost the game.
It's statistically highly improbable. It was like a 99-point-something% chance of a victory. But, they are still, my heart.
Yeah,
it aches a lot of the time, but yeah.
Well, it's honestly, and I say this with as much love as I can muster. Okay, well, my mom corrected me. It was Super Bowl 51. Sorry about that.
This Matthew Giudice. Yes, I am a Falcons fan. Matthew Giudice.
But yeah. Anyway, so Georgia sports as a whole are just kind of, I want to say, cursed, because there was about a decade and a half where the Braves just could not get anything going, and granted, recent years they've been doing fairly well. Georgia Bulldogs. I wouldn't say that they choked, but they definitely have blown their fair
They
share.
choked. Yeah, they choked.
They choke a lot of times. They choke when it matters the most, and I think that pretty much goes for all Georgia sports teams. And it's sad, but it's the reality we live in.
Well, Atlanta United won their championship, and everyone was, "Oh, the Atlanta curse is lifted." I couldn't care less. I don't watch soccer. I don't care. That means nothing to me.
Yeah, I'm sorry for anyone out there who watches soccer, and I'm really happy that Atlanta United does very well consistently. But it just doesn't hit the same. It does not hit the same as the Falcons losing a Super Bowl or the Bulldogs losing a national championship.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for the people who are fans of Atlanta United, and it's cool to have an Atlanta team win. But it doesn't do anything for me. I don't care that much.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a sad reality, but it's true.
Thank you, Kate, for that great question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kate, for dragging up those memories. So Jason, hopefully on a lighter note, I'll let you hit me with the question.
Yeah, I was looking at the Inside Out poster behind you, so I assume you're a Pixar fan?
I am a Pixar fan, and I can never get this down right. But yes, Inside Out, right over here.
Yes. What would you say is your favorite Pixar movie, and why is it Toy Story?
Well, it's not Toy Story. The first Toy Story isn't even the best Toy Story. So I'll
hold on. Which one would you say is the best?
Toy Story 2 is by far the best Toy Story movie. Look, here's how the order goes, okay? How the order goes, okay? It goes Toy Story 2, Toy Story 1, Toy Story 3. Toy Story 4 is not even considered. It shouldn't even be in the running, but yet it exists.
I can agree with you. Visually, Toy Story 4 was really amazing.
Visually great.
That's a fantastic looking movie. Totally unnecessary. I didn't need it. I feel like they cut out too much of the core crew and separated them for too long. But I have to disagree on Toy Story 2 being the top one.
Okay, well, tell me, why do you think that Toy Story 1 is better than Toy Story 2? And you can't use the argument that it did first, because that's not a fair argument.
Would pure nostalgia be a good argument?
It's a wonderful argument. I'm actually a fan of it myself.
Pure nostalgia. I wore that VHS tape out.
I get it. It's just watching Toy Story now, especially when you have such a wide array of Pixar movies and animated films in general to compare it to. I mean, it just doesn't even compare. It doesn't hold a candle. And for Kate Branson and Alex Sapp, who say that Toy Story 3 is the best, I'm going to go on and say that I disagree with you, because I think that the only reason you say that Toy Story 3 is the best is because it's the end of the trilogy. It's because it got you in the feels. It's because it played off of your nostalgia.
To be fair, that's totally valid, though.
Yeah,
it's your feelings and they captured it.
It's fair, but if you're looking at which of the Toy Story movies is the better movie, Toy Story 2 tries something new with characters. It expands the mythos of this anthropomorphic toy universe that they live in. It does everything a good sequel should do. It builds on the characters that it establishes. It builds out the worlds. It's the better movie, hands down. But it still is not my favorite Pixar movie.
What would be your favorite?
To get back to your original question, it actually is a tie. It's a tie between Inside Out and Coco. Coco more for the animation side of things. I think the story of Coco is fantastic. It's a beautiful story. The music's great. But I think that the animation in Coco is what makes it a top contender for me. Inside Out, on the other hand, I think is one of the best. Has one of the best stories I've ever seen, especially for a Pixar movie. Well, not just for a Pixar movie, but like for a kids film in general. I think Inside Out has one of the most.
Yeah, it was pretty deep for like a kids movie. Like it was something like
Oh yeah,
Pixar's perfect at making those movies that kids can enjoy just on the surface level, but then there's that extra level for the parents, the teenagers, like people of all ages. They have like a reference to Chinatown in Inside
yeah,
Out that's like really funny. Like I saw Inside Out in the theater with a bunch of children, and I was not a part of the group of children. I didn't come there with any of them, but and I was like getting very emotional watching the movie, and I was like, I got to hold it together in front of these 5-year-olds. I can't let them know that I'm in
yeah,
here crying.
yeah, and that's something to be commended with the fact that Pixar can do that for a kids film and really make it something that everyone can agree on, that
Yeah,
everyone can agree and appreciate. Um, I'm watching the chat, and my mom and Kate are apparently forming an alliance against us. Um, but
I would for the record rank Toy Story 1 and then Toy Story 3 and then Toy Story 2 and then Toy Story 4. Just to have that out there for the world to know.
okay, it's okay. You can be wrong. Um, but
I've been wrong before. I think it was 1999 maybe. I was wrong that then and then I guess now.
mm,
So,
man.
not a bad streak there.
Hey, 21 years is nothing to scoff at.
No.
Um, but yeah. Well, look, great question. Oh, also, just a quick side note. If the first 10 minutes of Up was, or if the rest of Up was as good as the first 10 minutes of Up, Up
Mhm.
probably would be my favorite Pixar movie.
Yeah, I
But
didn't care for Up. I really didn't care for Up at all.
really,
I
okay,
watched it once and it just didn't stick with me. I don't know.
okay, gotcha.
The opening 10 minutes was great though. I will give it
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
It wasn't even 10 minutes. It was what, 5 minutes at the most, right? I mean, it was
yeah,
pretty quick montage, but it like encapsulated like an entire story and made you like get totally
yeah, yeah.
invested before they ripped the carpet out from under you and brought in the emotional like tidal wave all in that short period of time. And that's
Oh
what
yeah.
Pixar does really well.
Yeah, yeah, they love to set things up really really nice and pretty, and then just beat you into submission. Um, you know, that's that's what Pixar does. But yeah, great question. Great question, Jason. So all right, so I have another question, and this one we actually asked this last week, but I'm gonna ask again because I kind of want your take. Right. So
Mhm.
who or name a cartoon or just group in general, a fictional group that you think could beat the Looney Tunes in a fist fight?
A fictional group and not limited to cartoons, right?
Not limited to cartoons. You can do any group.
I don't know anyone who could beat the Looney Tunes in a fist fight because they're pretty resilient jokers over there, you know.
Yeah.
They get beat down and then they get beat back up. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking about some people who teamed up with Michael Jordan against the Monstars and had Bill Murray there by their side in Space Jam. I mean, how can you compete with that? I don't know. And if I'm also being honest, I never really watched much Looney Tunes beyond Space Jam. It's just I didn't care for it too much. But if I had to pick one fictional group that could beat them, maybe the Angry Beavers.
Okay.
Do you
Okay.
remember the
That's a
Angry
deep cut.
Beavers?
Oh, I
Yeah,
remember the Angry Beavers. That's a deep cut. I like that.
those guys were pretty
Um,
scrappy too. So I think if
yeah,
anyone could
yeah.
take on the Looney Tunes, it would be the Angry Beavers.
Yeah. Well, Matthew is suggesting that Thanos could beat the Looney Tunes. I mean, if anything, he could just wipe out half of them. But again, they've been reduced to ash plenty of times and come back from it.
Yeah, come on, man. You see it where they stick their finger in the gun and then it blows up in their face or something.
Yeah. Like
They come back.
I mean, I think Thanos would be beat hands down.
Oh yeah,
What else do we have? So Kate
Angry Beavers.
suggests
What a
Ninja
throwback.
Turtles.
Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles. Ah, no,
Uh,
I do love the Ninja Turtles, but I don't think they would fight the Looney Tunes. They would join forces with the Looney Tunes. If I'm being
Because
honest.
Do you think it's just because like they have that like talking animal like camaraderie between the two of them?
Probably a little bit of that, and a little bit of, the Ninja Turtles they're pretty up for hijinks. So I think the Looney Tunes and all they got going on would really appeal to them in
Yeah.
many ways,
Yeah.
especially Mikey.
Yeah. And then Ben also suggests an army of Deadpools.
Mm.
Uh, I mean, I think at that point, I think you're just kind of evenly matched the entire way. Because I mean, both will take hits until I'm not going to touch on the rest of these too much. I'm just going to bring them up and show people what the arguments are. So my mom says the Mystery Gang from Scooby Doo. I strongly disagree with that.
I don't know. Maybe it's possible.
I firmly disagree with that. Alex Sapp with this deep cut of the Gross Sisters from the Proud Family. I know exactly who you're talking about, and that's a deep cut.
I've never seen that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
The Proud Family.
And then the Falcons might beat them.
They would probably beat them until about 2 minutes into the game, left in the game,
Yeah.
and here comes the comeback from the Looney Tunes.
Look, Space Jam 2.
Space Jam.
Space Jam 2 isn't actually another basketball movie with LeBron James. Instead, it's a football movie, and Peyton Manning comes out of retirement to do
I would actually watch that.
Oh, I would watch the heck out of that.
I'm a big Peyton Manning fan.
Yeah.
He's better than Brady. I'll say it now. Oh, he doesn't have the championships, but he's better than Brady.
Hardcore, yes, he's better than Brady.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Well, look, great question as always, Katie. I really do like that one. I'm gonna keep that one in my back pocket. But Jason, I'm gonna throw it back to you. Why don't you hit me with another question?
Okay. To properly frame this for the audience, when I first met you, we were doing a film shoot at Prolifik, right?
Yeah.
And you come walking into what we call the murder garage because it was very murdery looking in there, just because dark, and we have since painted the walls, but there were stuff that vaguely remembered blood. There was blood stain looking stuff on the walls, and we were filming a little commercial in there, and I learned you, or I first knew you as Kerman, not this Doug G character that you're masquerading as. So my question is, who is this Kerman, and where did he come from?
Yeah. So some people know the answer. Some people know the answer to this, but so about half the population of people who know me as Kerman, and the other half know me as Doug. If you don't know, Kerman is my first name and Doug is my second name. My full name is Kerman Douglas Gooden II. But everyone who knows me as Kerman knows me from something to do with my political science major. And everyone who knows me as Doug knows me from mostly my theater major, and then also a lot of just like my normal life. Because 9 times out of 10, I'll introduce myself as Doug. If I think what it comes down to is when I was coming into college, the first political science class I went into, the teacher had me on her roster as Kerman. And then the first theater class I went into, she had me on her roster as Doug. And I said, well, I'm just going to keep them separate. I think that Kerman, simply because it has more syllables, sounds more professional. But yeah, you're a part of a slowly growing group of people who know me specifically as Kerman. And yeah.
Yeah, that threw me for a bit of a loop when Kate told me, oh, he's T with Doug G, and I said, I don't know Doug G. I don't know who that is. But if you kept Kerman, it could be like crackers with Kerman or something, and we could be eating Ritz or whatever. Whatever your cracker of choice is.
I actually told Kate, I told Kate, I was like, one day if like all my ventures don't turn out the way I want them to, I I could just become like an online like teacher for like Khan Academy,
Mm.
and I would have this educational series, and I would call it Learning with Kerman.
Oh, I actually really like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I would help you get set up with that. I would bring a camera.
Oh well, awesome, awesome. So
Yeah.
so we've got this situated.
Yeah, it's already
But
said. You let me know and we'll pull the trigger on that.
yeah. I like it. I like it. But yeah, well, great question. Glad we got to settle that argument, or that debate. Not really an argument, but yeah. All right. Well, going back to another question that Kate asks. Kate wants to know, why is the Avengers so much better than the Dark Knight? Now that is a loaded question.
Yeah.
Clearly with biases in it. So I'm going to say, which is better, the Avengers or Dark Knight? And since she didn't specify in her question, I'm going to say which is better, because she told me what Avengers movie she was talking about. Avengers Endgame
Yep.
or The Dark Knight.
So I will first say this. When I first started at Prolifik, because I started there in January, and I got the job, I gotta say, by harassing Kate endlessly until I just completely wore her down and she just gave me the job. But when I first met Kate and she sits me in for this interview, I'm expecting, standard interview questions. Right out of the gate, she comes out with, what's the better movie, The Dark Knight or Avengers Endgame? And apparently there was a lot riding on this question. My answer, that is, to depending on whether or not I got the job. And at that time, and I'm going to have to stand by my decision, I did say the Avengers Endgame, because the Avengers Endgame is a total culmination of 10 years, or is it more than 10 years, 11 years? I don't know. At least 10 years of just Iron Man to Endgame, 2008 to 2018, 2019-ish. And I felt like it completely lived up, if not exceeded, my expectations for what this full scale, like, superhero battle would be. And I mean, the feeling watching that in theaters after, I saw the first Iron Man in theaters and now seeing Endgame in theaters, that whole build up to me was totally worth it. The audience was electric. Like, and watching, that's a movie where you watch it with the audience and their energy like makes the movie that much better. Like, I still get chills like when they show the videos online of like certain scenes from the Avengers Endgame and you can hear the audience going crazy. And I don't know, it was just a really, really good experience in my opinion. But I will say that I think The Dark Knight is a bit more maturely made, I guess would be the way to say that. It is it's definitely just a different type of movie, and I could completely understand why some people would say Dark Knight's a better movie from a technical aspect, although I feel like The Dark Knight is a bit overrated in general as far as movies go. So I don't know if you agree with that, but that is how I feel.
So I am of the mindset, I'm going to just pull up this one comment. I'm going to agree with
Yeah,
my
I see
friend
that.
Tankersley,
Yeah.
in that The Dark Knight is not only better in terms of quality, production, and acting, is not only better than Avengers Endgame, but is better than literally every Marvel movie ever made.
Okay.
From a thematic standpoint, I think it hits on I think it handles the philosophical issue of what makes someone good, what causes someone to turn evil. I think it handles it better than every single Marvel movie in existence. And I think it's a gorgeous movie to look at. I think Christopher Nolan was top of his game. And I know that there are plenty of people who think that Interstellar or Inception are better than this. I have not seen Interstellar, and I don't like Inception, so I will say that Dark Knight is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. Heath Ledger's performance is one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. Period. Yeah, I mean, not to not to be antagonistic or anything, but Dark Knight has it hands down.
I will say, and I'm a film student. I graduated with a film degree, so I will say I totally understand everywhere you're coming from. That I think Heath Ledger had a great performance in the movie. I think The Dark Knight, could have shaved about 20 minutes off of it. I thought, there was the writing. I like Christopher Nolan, but I'm not a huge fan of his movies. Like one of my favorite movies by him is Dunkirk because it's so stripped down, the script. I feel like a lot of his scripts try to be a little smarter than they think they are, and there was a few issues I had within the script of The Dark Knight. It's still a great movie. I hold nothing against it. The feeling I had, and I saw The Dark Knight in theaters as well at midnight when it first came out. I still have my ticket stub, number 2 ticket sold in Athens at the old Carmike when they still gave out the old green tickets, not the little flimsy receipts, and it had number 2 written on it as the second one sold. And a buddy of mine who I went with, he got number 1, but I was number 2, which is not bad. It's the story of, again, going back to Super Bowl 51, we were the number 2 in the league that year after that loss. So number 2 is not a bad place to be, right? But I still got to give it to Endgame, man. Just that feeling.
I mean, I'll let you have your opinion because everyone's entitled to it, but I do think it's wrong. And Kate,
can we pull that? Yes.
Yeah, Kate, you already own my merch, so that point is kind of invalid. Also, you can buy stickers and buttons at the Vire Media website. But anyway, yeah, great question, Kate. Way to stir controversy.
Why is she trying to put a rift between us? I don't get this.
I don't know.
Things were going well, and it was just going
Jason,
too well.
We came into this like we were tight, and Kate is just throwing things at us just to put a rift between us. It's terrible.
It's feeling a bit. It was warm and chummy in here. Now it's feeling a bit cold.
Yeah. Well, Jason, why don't you give us a question that could really kind of level everything out, just kind of bring us to a much more positive end for right now.
I would like to know, first of all, are you still in school? Have you graduated? What's going on?
I am in my last year at UGA.
Your senior year. So where do you see yourself then? I guess you're graduating spring. Is it spring?
Yep.
1 year from graduation, where do you want to be? How do you envision that playing out for you in your dream? And something that you would work for, where will you be a year from now?
Yeah,
or a year from graduation.
That's a great question. So first things first, I would really like to be employed.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, I would like to have a steady job that is giving me a steady paycheck every single month. Which I have that right now. And I'm grateful for it. But yeah. So first things first, I want to be employed. Second thing, I want to be at a place where I'm making enough money to cover all my expenses. And I have just enough left over to pursue other ventures. I would like to continue to grow the show. I want to keep doing the rest of the shows on Viter Media. I want to keep doing Saying the Skeen, making that a better podcast. If we start to add on new projects, I want to be able to give them the time and attention that they need to be successful. And I just want to keep creating things. I want to be in a place where I can keep on creating content, creating theater, creating something that I can put my name on and say, I'm happy that this is out in the world and this says what I want to say. That's the goal a year from now. Part one, though, is I want to be employed. But yeah.
Yes. Employment is usually pretty good.
Yeah.
The alternative, you can get a tent reasonably cheap. There are several bridges you can live under, but I would say prioritize employment a little bit more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. But yeah, great question, Jason. All right, so let's get another question going here. So Alex Sapp, who's been pretty vocal in the chat this evening, Alec wants to know. Well, this is what I said. I'm just going to read it verbatim. So Alex says, "Hi, I work with Jason, and I was wondering how has his life gotten better since I started working for Prolifik?" Again, loaded question, but I can't make that an unbiased question. So yeah, why don't you tell the folks just how exactly has Alex Sapp made life at Prolifik Marketing better?
Alec is an intern at Prolifik. He's been there a couple of months, maybe. I don't know. I actually sat in on his interview and loved the dude personally. I thought he was a real cool guy. How has he made my life better? Well, he introduced me to these pumpkin spice scones, and they are delicious. And I'm probably going to buy them up now. And I'm not really a pumpkin spice guy. Never do that, but I've actually never had a scone before either. I'm very sheltered from a lot of things. So that was delicious. He's made my life better in that way for sure. But honestly, Joanne is on here. She works. She's like the boss lady, boss with two money signs at Prolifik. Alec actually is directly under Joanne. And if I'm answering honestly, as Joanne says to say, I mean, Alec is a great worker, very knowledgeable, brings a lot to the table. I would love to have him stay on beyond his internship because I think he has really great work ethic. And I believe he also is a very cool person to just hang out with and get along with. Really funny, lightens the mood, makes everyone feel better or worse, depending on how they want to feel. Some people love feeling worse. And he's good at helping with feeling worse, but mostly better, usually better.
Well, good deal. Alec, I don't know you, but I'm happy to hear everything's working out at Prolifik. But yeah.
So far, so
all
good.
Right. Yeah.
We'll keep around another week or two.
Nice. All right. Well, Jason, I'm going to ask one more question. I'm going to let you ask another question, and then I have the question we're going to wrap it up with. All right?
Okay.
All right. There's such an easier way to do that, but I didn't ask it. All right. Well, not to kind of part the waters once again, not to bring up this rift between us again, which I don't know if it will or not. But Ben Tankersley, he's dying to know, who is the better billionaire, Bruce Wayne or Tony Stark?
Oh, Tony Stark. Come on, yeah. You can't compare those two.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. I think that Batman is a cooler character than Iron Man, but I do think that Tony Stark is just a better billionaire than Bruce Wayne is, because the way I look at it is they both were jerks before they started their respective careers as like crime fighters. But with Tony Stark, he became Iron Man and became a better human being. Bruce Wayne became Batman and just kept up the persona of a jerk Bruce Wayne. So, I mean, in terms of just who is a better billionaire, Ben did not ask who is a better superhero, who is a better billionaire. Bruce Wayne is clearly the better billionaire. Also, I do want to bring this one point up because he says, don't forget about Oliver Queen, who is Green Arrow. And to that I say, no one cares about Green Arrow.
I don't, who is that? No. Is that show on CW? Green Arrow?
Well, I mean, he's just like a superpowered archer.
Doesn't matter. Don't know him. No, no. So I would say, no, I'm still arguing. I'm advocating for Tony Stark as a better billionaire. For sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's only because of context. He has a broader reach, I would argue, globally than Bruce Wayne did, at least in the context of uh, the Batman films, all of them. I would say Tony Stark within the Marvel universe has a broader global reach. He has his hand in more pots than Bruce Wayne did, and he's helped more people, I would argue, than just limiting it to Gotham primarily.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you on that. And Ben, if I've formed a rift between our friendship, I really don't care. All right, well, Jason, why don't you hit me with one last question, then I've got our question to wrap everything up with.
What is it like working for Kate Branson?
Mm. Well, oddly enough, you kind of touched on what my final question is, which is
Oh no.
from Kate. It's fine. It's fine. Kate asked, "Who likes working with Kate more between the two of us?"
Wow.
So let me address this. Kate Branson, for anyone who doesn't know, she was on a previous episode of the show. You can go back and take a look at it. Kate is. You said it best before we got on. She's a workaholic. She works incredibly hard. I will say, she's a big fan of practical jokes. Big fan of it. Every now and then, I'll get asked to partake in a prank that is just. I mean, it's nothing bad. It's just really weird. Didn't think I was walking into that day in the office. But yeah. Both she and Mallory have rampantly encouraged a caffeine addiction of mine with these stupid energetic teas that have way too much caffeine in them, and I cannot handle the amount of caffeine in them, but I buy them anyway.
She does love her teas.
She's obsessed with them. But yeah, she's a great boss. She's a very eccentric individual. And yeah. Now,
so blink twice if you're just saying these nice things because she's on watching.
I mean, I can neither confirm nor deny anything, but
playing it cool. Yeah. I like it. Playing it cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'll also text you after all this is over. And
I need to know. Between
we can have our little debrief after the show's over. I do want to know. I do want to know who's your favorite between Kate and I. I'm going to actually take Kate's question. I'm going to flip it on its head. Now, Jason, obviously you've known Kate longer than me, but Jason, I mean, my question is, has Kate had you on her live stream on her weekly show?
No, she's never had me on a weekly show. She barely returns my calls or texts. She keeps me at the office till 3 a.m. I mean, she'll call me up and say, "Hey, what are you doing in the next 5 minutes? We have a video shoot across town." I have to go with, but she did hire me though at the same time. But this is real tough. This is real tough.
Jason, this is what I'll say. All right. So the first time you and I met. All right. This is the first time that we have ever met.
Sure.
And Jason, we were at a commercial shoot, I believe, for maybe like 4 or 5 hours. It was very late when we.
It was a
long day.
Very
late. It was very late when we left that shoot. But my question is this: did Kate go and get Chick-fil-A for everyone? Because
I don't remember Kate going. I seem to remember you went and got Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, last I checked, I'm the one who went and got. I'm the one who went and got. Who went and got lunch for everyone.
I think you're right.
The next commercial shoot I worked with you on. I went, got dinner for everyone, and I remembered all your orders.
I'm going to have to say you may have swayed me to say you, but Kate is a fantastic person just in general, though. She's a hard worker.
yeah.
Sometimes too hard. Sometimes it makes me work very hard, which I'm not too big on. But oh, Kate said who paid for it though? Who paid for the food?
The company, War Room Strategies.
Which she is a part owner of. So technically,
Yeah, but also, okay,
did it come out of her end?
well, she owns 33% of the company. Jordan owns 33% of the company, and Mallory owns 33%. So it's actually 66% Jordan and Mallory, and only 33% Kate. So, I mean,
who owns the other 1%? Is that you? Do you have the other 1% stake?
No, that's actually a guy named Ted.
Ted.
That's actually a random dude named Ted.
Ted is not as cool as Doug G. I'm going to tell you right now.
Even close. Not even close. But yeah. Well, look, Jason, thank you so much. I had a great time with this. Did you have fun?
I had fun. Appreciate it, man.
Well, good deal. Good deal. Thank you, everyone who sent questions. Thank you again to the chat. Y'all have been great tonight. Love to see the chat being active. And no, Ben, I don't actually mean it when I say I don't care what you think. But yeah. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you again, Jason. And yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Remember, keep up with everything Viter Media is doing. We have new episodes of Saying the Skiing coming out every Wednesday, and new episodes of Flea Pit. Dropping regularly. But yeah, until next week, his name is Jason Bray. My name's Doug Gooden, and this has been The T. Thank y'all very much. Y'all have a great night. That didn't work. Well, hold on.
Are we still here? Hey!